Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you a bunch of Atom shortcuts that you could do with your keyboard. You probably noticed me doing this in the last video, and you might have been wondering how I was doing it. Like for example, if I want to duplicate this line of code, I could easily just go like this, and it makes the line of code. It basically just copies it for me, which is super useful. And you could do that by holding down Control and Shift. Just hold down Control Shift, and then press D once. And if you press D again, you could just duplicate the line as many times that you want. And this works if you select multiple. If you select, you could see everything that's selected here. If you do it again, you just select everything, or you just copy everything that's selected. So what I just pressed was just a simple Control Z to undo. And you could do that again here. Undo your last few actions. You could press Control A to select the whole file. So these are just really basic commands that aren't really related to Atom, but I just want to point them out that sometimes I'll do Control A, select everything. You can press Control C to copy. You can press Control V to paste. Just like that. I'll Control Z to go back. Okay, so another thing I want to say about this video is that you should either write some of these commands down that you don't already know. Like you probably already knew that you could copy code with Control C. I think everybody knows that. Or you could paste it with Control V. Or you might have known that you could select the whole file with Control A. So selecting all isn't something that's unique to Atom. It's something that you could usually do anywhere. For example, if you go to a website and we just select something and then we press Control A, we could just select all the text on that page really easily. And this isn't a text because it looks like it's probably an image. So the only real command that we've seen that is unique to Atom so far is the duplicate line. So you should probably write that down. That is Control Shift D. Okay, because I'm gonna move through some more commands very quickly here, and I really don't expect you to remember them all because there's gonna be a lot of them. So you could delete a line with Control Shift K. Control Shift K deletes lines. And very similar to the Control D, if you have multiple lines selected, you could just delete them all at the same time. You could move code by just holding Control, so not Control Shift, just Control, and using the up and down arrow keys. And also, if you have multiple things selected, you could move lots at the same time. That's good. There is the select multiple lines. So if we select all this, that's great, we could duplicate it. But the selection itself could be done also with just keys. So if we hold down Shift, we can go like that. And then we don't have to use the mouse for anything. We could just select what we want, select these two, duplicate or delete, do whatever you want. So that's Shift. No Shift Control, just Shift, and then the up and down arrows. Just like that. Another thing that you could do, which I don't find is too useful, I don't use it very often, but it could be useful. It could just be so wherever you click is where your little cursor will be. You see it flashing there. So that means if I type, I'll put text right there. You can put many of these by holding down Control, because usually if you click somewhere else, it just leaves that spot and goes to the place that you clicked. But if you hold Control, you'll actually add to your selections. Like this. Just like that. Great. I just want to go back now. Whoops. Okay, one thing that is very useful that I use all the time is if you have a word, it doesn't have to be like a full word. In this case, it could just be the H1, or in this case of the A tag, it could just also be the A tag. So if you just press Control D, it will highlight it for you. This is useful, so if you're here, just press Control D and it highlights it for you. So instead of having to select and highlight with your mouse to change something, you can just select like that and it just selects it for you. And the really cool thing is that if you press it again afterwards, it will select the next instance for you while keeping this first instance still selected. So you can go something like this. And then you can change things really fast. So it's just a really useful thing. It could be useful to, sometimes I'll want to find something in a page. Like if I have a really long style sheet that I didn't create, but I know a certain piece of code exists and I want to find it, I could just go to the top of the file and type in what I'm looking for. Like say I could be looking for fade in 2. Then I could just highlight that and then press it again, and it would take me to the next instance of that text. So it's just a really useful tool. I use it all the time. Similar to that, if you have something selected, you could press Alt F3 and it will just select all instances for you automatically. So to show you this, if I just select this and press Alt F3, it will select all instances right away. I don't use this too much, but it's still a useful thing if you want to refactor some code. It could be extremely useful and save you a lot of time. Another thing that I use all the time is these. I really don't know the name of these things. I would just say they're used to start a new line after your current line. So for example, if you're right here at the end, let me delete all these, don't need them. If you're right here and you wanted to put code inside here, well, if you're at the end right here, that's easy because if you just press enter, it just goes down a line. But what if you're right here? Now if you press enter, you drop this, which is probably not what you wanted to do. So here you'd be able to go like this. So how I did that is control, hold down control, and press enter. And it just creates a line for you under the line that was currently selected. And it doesn't matter where you are in that line. So it's really useful. And similarly, if you hold down shift, you can make a line above. So just holding down control makes one below, and holding down shift makes them above. Those are really useful and I use them all the time. Another thing is that when you have an HTML tag, I think I'm going to teach you this probably in the next section, but I just want to point it out now that, so this is what a basic HTML tag looks like. And instead of having to type this all out by hand like this, you could simply just press H1 and then press tab and it creates it for you. So that's really useful. Also, if we come back here and make an A tag, like this. So this is what we just had. So if you wanted to close, let's duplicate this a few times. So if you hold down Control Shift Alt and these curly braces up here, so that's these. No, that's the. So these are what I mean by curly brace. So if you hold down Control Shift Alt and press a curly brace, you can close everything at the same time. And then also you could open everything at the same time. So these I don't use very much, but they could be really useful for like a CSS file or something like that. Okay, I'm almost done. We could duplicate this a few times to show you the next thing I want to show you. So if you have a long file, it could take you a little while to scroll to the top and bottom. So if you just hold down Control and press End on your keyboard, the end is usually right above. If you go to your arrow keys next to your number pad, the arrow keys like right here, these ones, the end button is usually right above your up arrow key. So you hold down up and press End, and it takes you to the bottom of the file. So then if you hold down Control and press the Home key, that's right above the End key, it takes you to the top of the file. So you can easily navigate to the top and bottom of a file. That's useful. And lastly, I just want to show you one more thing. Actually, I could select the whole file and just delete them all at the same time. Imagine you had a few words here. Hello, world. Just like this. So imagine you wanted to take all of these and wrap them in quotes like this. So it could just take a little bit of work, but an easy way to do it actually there's two different keyboard shortcuts that you could use in combination to do this. The first one is, again, I don't know what the name of it would be. You know, let me get rid of the comma. So the first one lets you navigate to the end of a line, if you hold down Control and use the left and right arrow keys, you can navigate around to the end of a line, just like that, just like that. And the next one is if you hold down Control and Alt, and then press down or up, like this that I'm doing right now, you could see that you could create multiple cursors in your current location. So if you do something like this, then press a quote, then hold down Control and press right, you go to the end, and then you could easily, and you'd be able to do this if we just go back. If we had like many right here, we could just go like this, select them all, and very quickly wrap everything in quotes, just like that. Okay, that's going to be it for this one.